A very good morning, students. How are you doing? I hope you are doing great. Today we are going to study chapter 8 from your Moments book, class ninth. Chapter's name is A House is Not a Home. Let us see the brief introduction of this chapter. This story highlights the little difference between a house and a home. While a house is a building where people live, a home is a place where a family lives together, sharing the unique bond of love and oneness. The narrator's house gets destroyed by fire and he gets a new house. Then he realizes that his house is the one built by the love and affection of his family and loved ones. Love and affection of one's family is precious. Let us start the explanation of the chapter. My first year of high school felt awkward. After leaving junior high at the head of my class, with all the seniority the upper grade level could afford me. It felt strange starting over as a freshman. The school was twice as big as my old school, and to make matters worse, my closest friends were sent to a different high school. I felt very isolated. Awkward means strange. Freshman means a student in the first year of high school, college, or university. Isolated means lonely. As the narrator entered high school in the first year, he felt strange. In the junior school, he had been the head of the class and had enjoyed the privilege given to a senior. It was uncomfortable to be a fresher at the high school. The school was twice as big as the old one, and to make matters worse, his friends had got into other schools, so he was lonely too. I missed my old teachers so much that I would go back and visit them. They would encourage me to get involved in school activities so that I could meet new people. They told me that in time I would adjust and probably end up loving my new school more than I had my old one. They made me promise that when that happened, I would still come by and visit them from time to time. I understood the psychology in what they were saying, but I took some comfort in the nonetheless. He would go back to his old school to meet the teachers because he missed his old school. The teachers would encourage him to meet new people in the new school and to get involved in new activities. They said that after some time he would adjust to the new surroundings and would love the new school more than the previous one. The teachers at the old school made him promise that he would visit them even when he got settled in the new school. The narrator tried to feel comfortable with these words of his teachers. One Sunday afternoon, not long after I had started high school, I was sitting at home at our dining room table doing homework. It was a cold and windy fall day, and we had a fire going at our fireplace. As usual, my red tabby cat was lying on top of all my papers, purring loudly and occasionally sweating at my pen for entertainment's sake. Purring means sound made by cat. Sweating means to hit something. One Sunday afternoon, an accident occurred. Jen was sitting at the dining table doing his homework. The day was cold and windy, and a fire was up at the fireplace. The narrator's pet cat was lying on top of the sheets of paper. It was making a purring sound and was hitting on his pen just for amusement. She was never far from me. I had rescued her when she was a kitten, And somehow she knew that I was the one responsible for going. My mother kept stoking the fire to keep the house nice and warm. Suddenly, I smelled something strange, and then I noticed it smoke pouring in through the seams of the ceiling. The smoke began to fill the room so quickly that we could barely see. Groping our way to the front door, we all ran out into the front yard. By the time we made our way outside, the whole roof was engulfed in flames and it was spreading quickly. I ran to the neighbors to call the fire department while I watched my mother run back into the house. Stalking the fire means feeding and tending the fire. Groping means to search blindingly. Engulfed means flooded, surrounded by. Jane's mother tended the fire to keep the house warm. There was smoke filling the room from the ceiling. Within a few seconds, it filled the room and they could hardly see. They made their way to the front door and escaped into the garden. The roof had caught fire, which spread quickly. Jen ran to neighbors to call the fire department while his mother ran inside the house. My mother then ran out of the house carrying a small metal box full of important documents. She dropped the case on the lawn and, in a crazed state, ran back into the house. I knew what she was after. My father had died when I was young, and why I was certain that she was not going to let his pictures and letters go up in the flames. They were the only things that she had to remember him by. Still, I screamed at her, Mom, no. Jane's mother came out of the house holding a small box full of papers. She threw it on the lawn and ran back. She was trying to save important things. As Jane's father had died when Jane was small, she had to save his pictures and letters, which were the only memories of his that they had. Jane screamed at her not to go inside the burning house. I was about to run after her when I felt a large hand hold me back. It was a fireman. I hadn't even noticed that the street had already filled with fire trucks. I was trying to free myself from his grasp, yelling, You don't understand, my mother is in there. Jen tried to run after her, but he was stopped by a firefighter. The street was full of firefighter trucks. Jen tried to free himself and tried to explain that his mother had gone inside the house and he wanted to bring her back. He held on to me while other firefighters ran into the house. He knew that I wasn't acting very logically and that if he were to let go, I would run. He was right. The firefighter did not let him go because he knew that the very next moment Jen would run into the house. It was all right. They will get her, he said. He wrapped a blanket around me and set me down in our car. Soon after that, a fireman emerged from our house with my mom in tow. He quickly took her over to the truck and put an oxygen mask on her. I ran over and hugged her. All those times I ever argued with her and had hated her vanished at the thought of losing her. In tow means behind. The firefighter wrapped a blanket around Jen and made him sit in their car. A fireman came out of the house with Jen's mother behind him. He took her to the fire truck and put an oxygen mask on her mouth. Jen ran to her and hugged her. The thought of losing his mother aroused affection in Jen's heart, and all thoughts of dislike vanished from his mind. She is going to be okay, said the fireman. She just inhaled a little smoke and then he ran back to fight the fire. While my mother and I sat there dazed. I remember watching my house burn down and thinking that there was nothing I could do about it. The fireman said to Jen that she would be fine. She had inhaled some smoke. Then the fireman ran into the house to bring down the fire while the mother and son both sat there wondering on what happened. Chen still remembered how he saw his house burn and felt helpless about it. 5 hours later, the fire was finally out. Our house was almost completely burned down. But then it struck me I hadn't seen my cat. Where was my cat? Much to my horror, I realized that she was nowhere to be found. Then all at once it hit me. The new school, the fire, my cat. I broke down in tears and cried and cried. I was suffering loss big time. It took them 5 hours to control the fire. The house was totally burned down. Then Jen realized that his pet cat was missing. He could not find it. He got sad and depressing thought like difficulty adjusting to the new school. The burning of the house and losing his pet cat made him cry. He thought that he was suffering many losses. The firemen wouldn't let us go into the house that night. It was still too dangerous, dead or alive. I couldn't imagine living without knowing about my cat. Regardless, I had to go. We piled into the car with just the clothes on our backs and a few of the firemen's blankets and made our way to my grandparents' house to spend the night. They were not allowed to go into the building as it could be dangerous. Jen wanted to know about his cat, but he had to leave. They got into the car with none of their belongings. All they had were the few blankets given by the fireman. They spent the night at Jen's grandfather's house. The next day, Monday, I went to school when the fire broke out. I was still wearing the dress I had worn to church that morning, but I had no shoes. I had kicked them off when I was doing my homework. They became yet another casualty of the fire. So I had to borrow some tennis shoes from my aunt. Why couldn't I just stay home from school? My mother wouldn't hear of it. But I was totally embarrassed by everything. The clothes I was wearing, I looked weird. I had no books or homework, and my backpack was gone. I had my life in that backpack. The more I tried to fit in, the worse it got. Was I destined to be an outcast and a geek all my life? That is what I felt like. I didn't want I didn't want to grow up, change or have to handle life if it was going to be this way. I just wanted to curl up and die. Weird means strange. Destined means future developed as per a predestined plan. Outcast, a person rejected by society. Geek, an unfashionable or socially inept person. Jane went to school the next day. It was a Monday. At the time of the fire, he was wearing his dress that he wore to the church on Sundays. He was not wearing his shoes. He had removed them and kicked them off. When he set to do his homework, they were burnt in the fire too. So Jane borrowed tennis shoes from his aunt. He did not want to go to school, but his mother forced him to go. He was embarrassed because his clothes were unusual. He didn't have his bag, books, or homework. He thought that God wanted that he should live like a person who was different from others and did not fit well in the society. Jane was so upset that he wished to die. Weird means strange. I walked around school like a zombie. Everything felt queer, surreal, and I wasn't sure that I was going. What was going to happen. All the security I had known from my old school, my friends, my house, my cat had all been ripped away. Zombie means a dull or apathetic person. Surreal means unreal, strange. Ripped away means torn apart. Jen walked about around the school like a dull, lifeless person. He felt insecure as all his belongings, his old school, old friends, pet cat, and his house had been snatched from him. When I walked through what used to be my house after school that day, I was shocked to see how much damage there was. Whatever had not burnt was destroyed by the water and chemicals they had used to put out the fire. The only material things not destroyed were the photo albums, documents, and some other personal items that my mother had managed to heroically rescue. But my cat was gone and my heart ached for her. On his way back, he walked through his burned house and was shocked to see the extent of damage that had been caused by the fire and the water that had extinguished it. The only thing that were safe were the ones that his mother had rescued, the papers, photos, and some personal items. Jan had lost his cat too. There was no time to grieve. My mother rushed me out of the house. We would have to find a place to live, and I would have to go buy some clothes for school. We had to borrow money from my grandparents, but there were no credit cards, cash, or even my identification to be able to withdraw money from the bank. Everything had gone up in smoke. Jan couldn't grieve the loss of the cat because they had to rebuild their life. They had to arrange a place to live in, clothes, etc. They had to borrow money from his grandparents as they did not have their credit cards, cash, or any identity proofs to withdraw money from the bank. That week, the trouble that used to be our house was being cleared of the load. Even though we had rented an apartment nearby, I would go over to watch them clear away debris, hoping that my cat was somewhere to be found. She was gone. I kept thinking about her as that vulnerable little kitten. In the early morning, when I would disturb her and get out of the bed, she would tag along after me, climb up my robe, and crawl into my pocket to fall asleep. I was missing her terribly. Vulnerable means weak, easy to influence. After some days, the workers were removing the remains of the burned house. They were living in a rented apartment nearby, but Jan would visit his old house and see the workers. He wished to find his cat there. He had lost her but kept thinking of the poor soul. How it would wake up when Jan disturbed it and then followed him, climbed up his gown, and would fall asleep while sitting in his pocket. He missed her. It always seems that bad news appeals quickly, spreads quickly. And in my case, it was no different. Everyone in high school, including the teachers, was aware of my plight. I was embarrassed as if somehow I were responsible. What a way to start off at a new school. This was not the kind of attention I was looking for. Plight means sad story. Jen thought that bad news spread faster because everyone, including all the teachers, knew that about his short sad story. Jen felt embarrassed as if he was guilty for all that had happened. He was getting attention for all the wrong reasons. The next day at school, people were acting even more strange than usual. I was getting ready for gym class at my locker. People were milling around me, asking me to hurry up. I thought it strange, but in the light of the past few weeks, nothing would surprise me. It almost seemed that they were trying to show me into the gym. Then I saw why. There was a big table set up with all kind of stuff on it, just for me. They had taken up a collection and bought me school supplies, notebooks, all kind of different clothes, jeans, tops, and sweatshirts. Miling around means moving. Miling around means moving around aimlessly. Show means push hard. The next day at school was unusual. Jen was changing for the gym class when students gathered around him and asked him to hurry. Jen was accustomed to strange happenings and so he didn't react much. The students pushed him into the gym and he realized the reason when he reached. There was a table full of articles like notebooks, clothes, stationery items. It was like Christmas. I was overcome by emotion. People who had never spoken to me before were coming up to me to introduce themselves. I got all kinds of invitations to their houses. Their genuine outpouring of concern really touched me. In that instant, I finally breathed a sigh of relief and thought for the first time that things were going to be okay. I made friends that day. He felt like a Christmas at that day. Jen got emotional. He made new friends. They invited him to their houses. He was moved by their concern for him. He felt relieved because it was for the first time that he felt something good was happening to him. He made new friends that day. A month later, I was at my house watching them rebuild it. But this time it was different. I wasn't alone, I was with two of my new friends from school. It took a fire for me to stop focusing on my feelings of insecurity and open up to all the wonderful people around me. Now I was sitting there watching my house being rebuilt when I realized my life was doing the same thing. After a month, Jen visited his house as it was being rebuilt. He had two friends with him. The incident transformed him. He came out of the negativity and made new friends. He realized that just like his house was being rebuilt, similarly his life was also being rebuilt. While we sat there on the curb planning my new bedroom, I heard someone walk up to me from behind and say, "Does this belong to you?" When I turned around to see who it was, I couldn't believe my eyes. A woman was standing there holding my cat. I leapt up and grabbed her out of the woman's arm. I held her close to me and cried into that beautiful orange fur. She purred happily. My friends were hugging me, hugging the cat, and jumping around. Curb means edge of the pavement. They sat on the pavement. Pavement is the erased surface. They sat on the pavement and were planning Jen's new bedroom. Someone walked up to Jen from behind and asked if the cat that she was holding belonged to him. Jen grabbed his pet cat, held her close, and cried. On union with her master, the cat made a happy sound. Jen's friend shared his happiness and jumped around. Apparently, my cat had been so frightened by the fire that she ran over a mile away. Her collar had our phone number on it, but our phones had been destroyed and disconnected. This wonderful woman took her in and worked hard to find out whose cat it was. Somehow she knew this cat was loved and surely missed. Freaked means behaved irrationally. Due to the fire, Jen's pet cat behaved strangely and ran almost a mile away. Although his phone number was written on her collar, but as their phone had been destroyed in the fire, the lady couldn't contact them. She made efforts to trace their address through the number and thus reached them. She could make out that the cat was being missed by her master because the cat was also sad and missed him. There, with my friends and my cat curled up in my lap, all the overwhelming feelings of loss and tragedy seemed to diminish. I felt gratitude for my life, my new friends, the kindness of a stranger, and the loud purr of my beloved cat. My cat was back, and so was I. Tragedy means mishap. Diminish means fade off. Gratitude means thankfulness. When Jen sat with his cat and his friends and sadness disappeared, he was happy and thankful for getting a new life which got him new friends. A kind woman who returned his cat and his pet cat, he got a new life. This is all students. I hope you all have understood. Thank you for watching the video.